Congratulations.
Thank you.
Um, if you would like to speak on any item that's on this public hearing, when I read the item, please step to the podium and state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes to speak. There is a light system on the podium that will let you know your time and when your time is up. But again, the public hearing is for items that I will read. Number one, request by Dewey Lineberry for future land use plan amendment approval for about 10.82 acres at undressed properties on Central Pike from RPO to IL in the UGB. Planning Commission recommend denial by vote of 8-0 at their February 9th special call meeting. This reference ordinance number 267353. Would anyone like to speak on this one? Okay, seeing none, I'll move on to number two. This is request by Steve Moore for future land use plan amendment approval for about 17.78 acres at 478 and undressed West Olegardo Road from FLH2 to FLH16 in the UGB. Planning Commission recommend denial by a vote of 9-0 at their February 9th special call meeting. This reference orders number 267354. Would anyone like to speak on this?
Mayor and Council, thank you. My name is Steve Moore, 143 Witherspoon in Gallatin. So the character of this area has changed, but the future land use plan has not. And this didn't happen by accident. It happened by annexations and rezoning that didn't match the future land use plan. And those decisions were made by this body. For context, this property currently has a future land use designation as R20, which allows roughly 2 units to the acre. Immediately adjacent to the west, the designation is multifamily, which is up to 16 units per acre. On the other side, at Highway 109, you have high traffic commercial zoning. So effectively, you have low-density residential squeezed between significantly higher intense uses. Good planning transitions intensity. It doesn't isolate the low intensity between the higher intense uses. So to deny this amendment would leave this parcel as an island inconsistent with the surroundings. So planning should be based on land use patterns and sound planning principles, not individual preferences. As full disclosure, we did look at commercial, and due to rock and due to topo, it became very apparent that it's not feasible. So we're not asking for rezoning. We're not asking for a plan of services tonight. This board can review that at another time. Tonight, we're asking for equal treatment and consistency. So please ensure these property owners have the same opportunity to adapt as those that are around them. I respectfully ask for you to approve this amendment.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on this one?
Council members, my name is Valanda Merritt. I am co-owner of the property at 478 Old Legardo Road East. I am representing several other landowners that live around me tonight. We would not be here if not for the actions of the city. Our property, our home, was in the country until the city rezoned property all around us to allow apartments to invade our quiet country setting. Now being zoned agricultural, we cannot do anything with this property, not even live there in peace. This property is not suitable for agriculture. It is not suitable for commercial use. It is not suitable for single-family homes. The only use we have been able to get traction on is multi-family homes, largely due to a lack of road frontage and the amount of bedrock on the property. We are begging you at this point to consider annexing our surrounded cut-off tract of land so that we can find a purpose for it sometime in the future. If not multifamily housing, we are open to any suggestions you might have that you could endorse. Please thoughtfully consider the position this board has created for not only our property, but also the other landowners in the same hole surrounded by commercial on one side and multifamily on the other. Thank you for your service and consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I'll move on to the next one. The next three items are all the same property, so I'll read each one of those. Number three, request by Suncrest Real Estate and Land for future land use plan amendment approval for about 7.92 acres at 541 Bartons Creek Road from FLH4 to FLH8, from FLH4 and FLH8 to DXU and FLH8 in Ward 3. Planning Commission recommend approval by vote of 7-1 at their February 9th special call meeting. This reference ordinance number 267356. Request by Suncrest Real Estate and Land for South Hartman Overlay Amendment approval for about 7.92 acres at 541 Bartons Creek Road from ASSFD and WSFAD to WUSFAD and WTCMX-TCR in Ward 3. Planning Commission recommend approval by vote of 7-1 at the February 9th special call meeting. This references ordinance number 267357. Request by Suncrest Real Estate and Land for rezoning approval for about 7.92 acres at 541 Bartons Creek Road from RPO to Bartons Village North SE Hybrid Specific Plan in the South Hartman Overlay in Ward 3. Our Planning Commission recommend approval by vote of 7-1 at their February 9th special call meeting. This references ordinance number 267358. Anyone would like to speak on this one?
Good evening. My name is Jerry McCaskill. I live at 529 Scarlet Oak Road with my wife. We're in the new Del Webb Barton Village area right across from where this development is taking place. As I understand how we got here, and I really don't oppose rezoning this to this particular zoning request because it only makes sense logically based on what Suncrest is already doing over there. But as you may recall, when they presented this to everyone and to us, the idea was that South Hartman was going to be commercial and then it was going to transition into residential. Eventually, you've got Barton Creek Road there to the further south and then the Del Webb where we are. Now what's happened is, I guess because they didn't buy this particular piece of property or they couldn't, they've now, I guess, purchased it or agreed to purchase it, and they're trying to figure out what to do with it. And so what they propose, and I don't have a problem with the first part, is to build, I don't know, 20 to 30 two-story detached homes on the west side of the property. The problem comes in on the east side of the property, where they apparently have run into a problem with the airport authority. I don't understand exactly, but I'm sure there's somebody here that is on that board as well as a representative of the council, but they don't, the airport authority doesn't want houses going on that west side of this parcel. I don't know what the other options were that were considered. I don't know if they weren't financially feasible for Suncrest, but they come up with this proposal to build a storage unit there. Now, agreed, storage units now aren't like what I was used to when I had to store stuff in college. Now they're building these big, nice square boxes that look something like this. I know you probably can't see it. This is what U-Haul builds typically. It's a nice big box. It's nice and pretty. My problem is it's going to be a 3-story building across from 2-story houses, not across a highway, not out at South Hartman where it might, draw in customers, but back in the middle of this residential development. The people that live in those houses who aren't here to represent themselves are going to be staring out at a big building that's commercial in an area where normally these things are put in light industrial areas in the community. They've tried to work this out by agreeing to flip the building around so that the activity won't face the homeowners, which I think is admirable. But I still have concerns about the lighting, natural screening with respect to shrubbery and trees. Also, I'm concerned about if they have signs advertising their business up at the top of the building, how are those going to be illuminated at night? I'm all for orange and white. I went to UT. I'm a big UT fan, but if U-Haul puts this big sign up here, even out in the country, and tries to comply with the signage and the lighting requirements of the city, That's going to carry.
Sir.
And I know my
Sounds
time is
good.
up, and I'll be back the next round.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on this? Okay, seeing none, I'll move on to number 6. Request by Mid-10 Power Sports LLC for SP amendment approval for about 5.47 acres at 6050 Legal Pike. It's on Legal Pike Commercial Specific Plan in Ward 4. Planning Commission recommend approval by vote of 9-0 at their February 9th special call meeting. This references ordinance number 267359. Would anyone like to speak on this? Okay, seeing none, I'll move to the last 3, and they all are the same project. Request by Elizabeth Johnson for plan of services for about 5.04 acres at 1544 Rutledge Lane near Ward 1. Planning Commission recommend approval by vote of 9-0 at their February 9th special call meeting. This references resolution number 262818. Request by Elizabeth Johnson for annexation approval for about 5.04 acres at 1544 Rutledge Lane to be added to Ward 1. Planning Commission recommend approval by vote of 9-0 at their February 9th special call meeting. This references resolution number 262819. Request by Elizabeth Johnson for zoning approval for about 5.04 acres at 1544 Rutledge Lane to RD9 in Ward 1. Planning Commission recommend approval by vote of 9-0 at their February 9th special call meeting. This represents ordinance number 267360. Would anyone like to speak on this?
May I make comments on all 9?
Andy? Sure, you have
All right.
3 minutes.
Yeah, 3 minutes. Steve Caballero. I live at 1633 Summit Ridge in Lebanon, and I am the chair of the Wilson County Democratic Party. I appreciate you giving me some time. Researchers with the University of Tennessee Institute of Agriculture project that Tennessee could lose roughly 2 million acres of farmland to residential and commercial development by 2030 if current trends continue. That would be over 17% of the total agricultural base. Wilson County, by comparison, by 2030, at its current rate of development. Am I off? Oh, there we go. I thought maybe I was getting the hook. Could lose almost 24,000 acres, which is 13.5% of its farmland. And when you include an economic environment of tariffs, the bottom line is that Wilson County's $1 billion agricultural industry is in jeopardy. Every Tennessean should be fighting for farmers and for sustainable development instead of the rapid development that has been happening in our community for the past 10 years or more. The Wilson County Democratic Party participated in the 2024 No Industrial Park campaign to halt irresponsible development of Tucker's Crossroads green space. And we applaud the Lebanon Planning Commission for its restraint and caution as it reviews potential zoning changes to accommodate in the future large Lebanon data centers and their environmental impact. We support sustainable growth and climate justice by supporting Democratic candidates for local and state office who will work to ensure that our farmers have solid economic reasons to stay in operation, and local Lebanon developers are willing to make plans that include these 7 recommended strategies. 1, mixed land use, which promotes walkability, bikeability, and a sense of community. 2, efficient development reduces sprawl. Diverse housing options, which encourage social equity and economic stability. 4, transportation options, which improve air quality, reduce traffic congestion, and support healthier lifestyles. 5, community collaboration, which involves local stakeholders in the planning process. 6, preservation of natural resources, which enhances biodiversity, supports local agriculture, and preserves scenic areas. And finally, climate resilience planning, which is a strategy that helps communities reduce their vulnerability to climate-related disasters and increase the utility of their systems to adapt. Thank you for your time, and thanks for your service to the city.
Thank you.
There we go.
Hudson, 106 Chapman Drive, 1544 Rutledge Lane. The short extension of North Hartman Drive to Rutledge Lane will require property from two landowners, one being 1544 Rutledge Lane. At 231 North, where North Hartman will connect through to the section in the D.R. Horton neighborhood at 231 North, currently the in-ground boundary flags have been planted and are appropriately boulevard width spaced for future construction. Here's the problem, which is the amount of required buffer space beyond the road. The city, meaning y'all, have a front setback space dimension for houses on a neighborhood street, but North Hartman is a boulevard traffic artery, not a neighborhood street. Hence, D.R. Horton was allowed to plan front setbacks from houses to road on that section of North Hartman as a neighborhood street rather than as a boulevard, and the outcome illustrates idiotic city planning. At 1544 Rutledge Lane and the adjacent property where the boulevard of North Hartman will be, there must be established a much larger front setback dimension from houses to road rather than the front setback dimension for RD9. Same said regarding coming nearby Walker Estates. Kristen Rice doesn't do land use setback policy. Rather, you do, Counselor Carmack and company. Counselor Carmack, here's some quick ugly history on the setback topic. And at least for now, I'll admit the ugly history regarding North Hartman through the D.R. Horton project. In 2018, Paul Corder multiple times put changes in setback on the city council agenda. Those city councilors who remain now are Councilor Bell, Councilor Crowell, Councilor Bryan. The three of them sit on their hands and said absolutely nothing, zero, not a nothing, as these multiple setbacks changes came through. And so that is part of the problem, not the entire problem with regard to the setback issue that I just presented, a neighborhood street versus a boulevard. And so you guys should have as a priority fixing the setbacks for a boulevard before rezoning a property that a boulevard must go through to RD9. But here we are.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, I will declare the public hearing closed. And it is now time for our city council meeting. I'll call to order. Ask Lee Clark to lead invocation.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, just thank you for this day. Just thank you for all the many blessings that you give us each and every day. Dear Lord, we just ask you to be with the folks that have lost loved ones over the past few weeks. Just be with them and comfort them. We ask you to be with our military and watch over them and protect them. Be with this body as we conduct the business of the city tonight, and I always follow your will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Place flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Joey Carmack.
Here.
Jerry Ashley.
Here.
Camille Burdine. Chris Crow.
Here.
Tick Bryan. Phil Moorhead. Mayor Bell, you have a quorum.
Thank you. We also have some minutes from the February 12th work session.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion from Councilor Carmack, second by Councilor Crowell. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We also have minutes from the February 17th city council meeting.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion from Councilor Carmack, second by Councilor Moorhead. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, now it's time for communication from citizens, and as before, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. So if you'd like to speak, please step to the podium and state your name and address. And there's a light system up there. I do have a few things to say though before we begin. First of all, everyone who wants to speak will have the opportunity to speak, but I do ask you not to line up at the podium. So when someone finishes talking, then someone else can step up. Want to make sure that we run the meeting with respect to the to each speaker and for what they have to say. And so we ask for no applause, no booing, those types of things. And also no threats. So, so with those being said, please step to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, Lori Cameron, 109 Nicholas Circle. I want to say thank you to everyone, my councilman Phil, to you, Mayor Bell, and to all of you that I may not know. I want to applaud you for your care and concern you show for what is now my hometown. Never thought I would live in Lebanon, but I've been here almost 10 years now, which is the longest I've ever lived anywhere. So thank you for doing what you do and for paying attention. I may not always like the details. We may not like those details, but you do pay attention to them. In that respect, recently there's been a lot of news centering around Wilson County and Lebanon, Tennessee. So concerning potential ICE detention centers. Apparently that has died down now. I understand that the county is working on a resolution to prevent any such facility being built. And I'd like to ask you respectfully that the city follow suit and also consider a resolution to prevent an ICE detention facility in our fair city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Christopher Slater, Pemberton Drive here in Lebanon. You've heard plenty of people that have spoken out about why they don't want an ICE facility here and reasons why and things like that. So I'm not going to tell that to you. Instead, I'm going to talk about something that's equally important, and that's me and my philosophy on the world. I was a social studies teacher for 20 years, 15 of it here in Wilson County. And every year I would be asked the same question at the beginning of the year, the dreaded question of every social studies teacher: why do we have to learn this? Now, yes, I could have trotted out the old, well, those who don't learn history are doomed to repeat it. But I taught 8th graders. They would have considered that a challenge and really try to follow through with it. So instead, I told them else something that was important. You need to learn social studies so that you can understand the most important lesson in life. And that is, humans are stupid. And we are. We are the most illogical creatures ever put on this earth. If you doubt that, think about the necktie. Somebody took a rope, wrapped it around their neck, tightened it up till they could barely breathe, and then told everybody, if you want to be taken seriously, you have to wear one of these. And as a species, we went, well, okay, except for women. We didn't ask women to do it because we knew they wouldn't fall for it. So we have proof that humans are stupid. So why do I bring this up? Well, first of all, we have to know the difference between ignorance and stupidity. Ignorance is normal. Ignorance means you don't know something. We're all ignorant. That's fine. Stupidity is a choice. Stupidity is when you choose to remain ignorant or you choose to ignore something because you just don't want to. Well, I bring all of this up for one reason, and that goes back to the original topic, the possible ICE facility. We have been told, don't worry, it's not coming here. How much evidence do we need, even with how things happened originally, to know that we get told one thing, something else happens. Then we get told something else happens. We would unfortunately have to put ourselves in the example of human stupidity as a city if we didn't take seriously the idea that this could still happen. We would also have to place ourselves in that same category if we didn't try to find unique ways to deal with it. This administration has already shown that if we don't want something to happen, come up with a novel interpretation of a law or an ordinance. And in the end, it might not win, but it will delay things long enough that they'll give up and go somewhere else. So that is something that I think that we need to consider, both as a city and the city council. I would love for the next time somebody wants an example of the ridiculousness of humans, for me to be able to point out my relative that got ran over by a parked car, or my friend that shot himself in the foot 3 times with the same bullet. Both true stories, by the way. I don't want to have to point out this city or the choices that we made. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Haskell at 529 Scarlet Oak Road.
I'm going to take advantage of my opportunities. My presentation with respect to 541 Bartons Creek Road. First of all, at the Planning Commission, one commissioner expressed concerns about wanting the lighting requirements to be a little bit more extensive than the minimum requirements. I think Councilman Crowell agreed that he would like to see more screening done than perhaps what the minimum natural screening requirements are. But there were no amendments made to the Planning Commission's recommendation. And my understanding is that if you don't make those amendments at this point, we may be stuck with just the minimal requirements. The other thing has to do with the signage on the exterior of the building. I would suggest that facing the homeowners on, I think it's Yellowstone, and also facing Bartons Creek Road, there's no reason for any illuminated signage on that building. That's going to create a lighting problem. But again, that's not included in any of the formal documents. I also don't think there needs to be any standalone external signage facing Bartons Creek or this road. Perhaps something at the driveway entering the property would be appropriate. But none of this is memorialized in any of these documents. Now, at some point, perhaps the representatives from Suncrest will get up here, as they've done at all the meetings, and I believe they're sincere when they tell you they want it to look nice. They're going to go above and beyond. They're going to make it, they're going to put in more trees and more bushes, and they're going to fix the lighting, and it's going to be beautiful. But they're not legally bound to do any of those things as we stand now. So you either have the opportunity to figure out the wording here and amend it, which seems a little unlikely, or perhaps defer it so that they can go back with the planning people, work on the language with respect to what the lighting is going to specifically look like, if there needs to be more requirements, address this issue of this external buildings illuminated signage, because, I'm not going to get the calls from the people that move into that neighborhood when they're looking out their front window at a big light all night long while they're trying to put their kids to sleep. One of you is going to get that phone call. Why did y'all let them build this with a big light out here I've got to stare at all night? So I appreciate the opportunity. The zoning people have been very professional and courteous throughout this process, as has Suncrest. We just need to work on kind of maybe fine tuning it a little bit more than where it is now.
Thank you.
I'm Josh Roldman with Kimley Horn, 10 Lee Avenue in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going to build on the momentum of our wonderful neighbor here. We've had plenty of conversations at our community meeting and at Planning Commission. I appreciate the compliments. We are trying to be real intentional with our communications with the neighbors. I'm representing the applicant this evening and will be available to have further discussion and answer any questions that come up during the public, past the public hearing section. But this is a pretty simple request this evening. The current Hartman overlay has this property outlined with a 8-unit and 4-unit to the acre residential densities. Due to some conflicts with the airport overlay, we're having to restrict some of the residential on this property, so we're requesting a commercial zoning. Some of those uses that we're seeking to be allowed include self-storage. And at the time, we had some interest. We're continuing to get interest from other commercial users. So I just want to say that use is not set in stone. But some of the detail in the application does speak to self-storage. This is a hybrid SP, which means it creates bulk standards and land use areas, but it allows for a variety of uses. So that is not a determined element at this time. I wanted to I was going to pass these out during the next part of the meeting, but I'll do this now so you've got a minute to do it. We have a few minor changes to our application based on what we heard at Planning Commission. Planning Commission requested that we increase the lot widths from 32 feet to 40 feet wide, which is the minimum requirement in the Hartman overlay area. So as we did that, a couple little minor shifts and changes happened. They're outlined in here. One other thing we've requested to be added is that veterinary services being allowed use in the commercial area, kind of like a Camp Bow Wow type thing where it's a highly amenitized type pet daycare facility is a use we at least just like to have the opportunity to consider. And, you know, with some of those changes, we had a slight shift in our road alignment through the middle of the site. So the areas on either side, commercial and residential, has changed in a very small way. And then our Greenway Trail that in the previous version of the application kind of bifurcated the park that's part of the original Barton Village SP and our proposed development area. We're just requesting that that remain along the road frontage so that it can be more accessible to the community. We'll be available at the next part of the meeting to answer any further questions. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Derek Dodson, collectively, y'all's commentary at the last city council meeting on February the 17th was fantastic. I was appointed to attempt to help this body to try to be fantastic in the land use realm, tongue in cheek. Traveling on South Maple, whereby it crosses I-40, it then becomes West Old Murfreesboro Road, and the former Outlet Mall is on the left, which is now becoming 500 plus residential units. Across the road is 1 acre that was on last week's Planning Commission agenda for site plan approval for either retail or office space. On 224, City Planner Josh made a long presentation of the facts and issues in play, whereby Josh was absolutely brilliant. While Josh outlined applicable city land use policy, including that of the South Hartman Overlay District, it was not his job to inject that the following people should be injecting: Mayor Bell and city councilors at the meeting, Councilor Moorhead, Councilor Crowell, and Councilor Carmack. The applicant wanted this project to have an appropriate amount of buffer space between the proposed commercial building and Old Murfreesboro Road for customer parking, and also, obviously, like all other built-out properties on that stretch of road to South Hartman Drive, then buffer space that could potentially be available if and when the road is widened over the next 500 years. But the city position pressed for instead only a 10-foot buffer because, insanely, the property is in the South Hartman overlay, in which demands buildings be built to near the street, thereby negating that traffic artery being widened forever, and which might be very significant if a future exit ramp is added at I-40 and Old West Murfreesboro Road. That insanity via the South Hartman overlay designation in the name of a walkable neighborhood. But the walkable neighborhood is across the road inside the Outlet Mall property, not the traffic artery of Old Murfreesboro Road. The planning agenda item was deferred due to city land use policy insanity. On Thursday, there is a meeting in this room of the Hartsville Pike Area Plan, whereby, among other, will be considered economic strategies. The last time I went to a meeting like that, ended up on the council agenda to make 231 north from the town square to Forest Avenue 2 lanes because of an economic strategy. I just want to thank those who were on the council back then, Councilor Bryan, Councilor Bell, Councilor Crowell, for voting against that idiotic nonsense. So when I go to that meeting on Thursday, I'll have that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm Tanya Denny. I live at 402 Barnes Drive in Lebanon. I'm speaking on behalf of the Central Pike project, the desired to amend the future land use and to rezone to light industrial, the Central Pike property. I'm speaking on behalf of the Lineberry family. And what their desire is to establish a large truck wash there on that 10 acres, a little over 10 acres, capturing the trucks that are already there in that area and that travel right past that on a 840. Our town does not currently offer this service to trucks that are already here, is my understanding. There isn't anything that's already here. The closest one is in Laverne, that's my understanding, in another county. Trucking companies like LoJack, Gilly Trucking, and other local trucking companies could spend their money here rather than going to a neighboring county and spending their money and the tax dollars going there. The property across the street from us is already zoned industrial. There's blasting there currently. I'm not exactly sure what they're putting there, but there's a big something that's going there, and it's zoned industrial. And city sewer is not available to this property right now. It's in the area, but it's over across the way. However, both of the tracks already have septic approval, and that is noted on the recorded survey. And in speaking with the Lineberry family, their intent as far as septic, sewer, things like that, are to have bathroom services for the employees, not a public, restroom thing that would require a lot more capacity. If something with a pump station or something was needed that could be done or worked out, I feel sure that the owner is open to discussing that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Come on up. Come on up.
Probably surprised they even showed up. But anyway, first off, my name is Jim Dunn. I live at 1709 Blairmont Drive, right off the highway of Blair Lane. And first off, I just wanted to mention that I got a number of complaints about the dynamiting or explosions that are going up on Bethlehem Road up there. And I find that Nashville and the state is in charge of the explosions and not the city. And I was wondering, something maybe to think about is how much of our city do we have to blow up before it becomes any of our business? So, that may be something we think about in the future, but I had some houses that were shaking because of it, but sooner or later it quit, and it's probably gone for now, but it may be something to bring up later. Secondly, I want to thank all of you recently for the work that y'all did concerning the federal people that decided to join us and become citizens of our city. And I understand that they've decided not to do that. So I think that would be good for us if they don't. And I appreciate all of you's help in whatever you did and whoever you talked to keep them from coming. Let somebody else take care of that business and we won't worry about it. Last but not least, I was looking at the agenda in the town hall meetings, and I would like to thank all of you for the work that you do. I know we don't always agree with you about everything, but we always have a full agenda of the city moving forward. And we are a city that's moving. And when I first came here, there was like 20,000 people living there. Now there's about 50,000 people around here. And every meeting we have another group of people that's wanting to build something or change the farms into a housing project or whatever it may be. And I know that y'all are going to have a tough job in the future. And I think we got a good bunch of people up here, and we're proud of you. And although we fuss at you a lot, we do appreciate everything you do. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, now it's time for my comments. And I do have a couple things. The first one is this. Several speakers mentioned the ICE facility, and there were several elected officials, including myself and the counselors here, who worked to divert that. And so I just want to thank everyone who helped in that. I do want to say quickly that, and I'll let the counselors speak for themselves, but for myself, that's something that as mayor, I did not want here, and there was a lot of work to make that happen. I want to say this, as far as the future goes, we are putting together a resolution for the council to address that. And also, we're preparing ourselves legally for anything in the future. This was a surprise to everyone. In the future, we do not want to be surprised anymore. So, so we are establishing some things for whatever might come up as we go forward. Also, I want to go back to our last city council meeting 2 weeks ago. Leading up to that city council meeting, Councilor Crowell had the idea to honor a local young man, Jaden Bailey, who had fought cancer for a long time, and he was a basketball player at Lebanon High School. And so that night, we proclaimed Jaden Bailey Day, and his coach, Jim McDowell, was here with his teammates and coaches, and Jaden was not able to come, but Coach McDowell took the proclamation to Jaden's home, gave it to him, and he was able to watch that on television that night. And sadly, 2 days later, Jaden passed away. And so the past couple of weeks have been really a celebration of him. And this past weekend was his celebration of life at Lebanon High School. I want to thank fire and police for taking part in that, for all that you did. But I just want to, one more time, remember Jaden for his struggle, what he meant this community, and ask everyone to pray for his family as they go through this time. Also, one more thing, just to remind the council that Councilor Burdine has requested a legal meeting. So after this meeting, we'll step back here in the back room and we'll have a legal session. So, Councilor Carmack.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I really have to say is I want to thank you for keeping us updated and all the communication from state, federal, and local and yourself of keeping us updated on the ICE facility. And now that it's not coming, which is a great thing because none of the residents here wanted it here or in the county. To address Derek's concerns, we've talked about it several times. There's going to be buffers put in place. I've talked to Kristen as late as this afternoon when I got off work. There's going to be fences put up and buffering put up on Hartman Drive where that was put in prior to my being elected. And that's going to be addressed, I assure you. This annexing of this property is something that I do support. It's going to support the Hartman Drive extension, and I believe it's needed for the city. So that's all I've got.
Thank you, Councilor Ashley.
I think my only comments were in regard to the meeting at City Hall. Is it Thursday night? And this is an opportunity for, I think there's going to be various meetings throughout the day for business owners, nonprofits, and then one here in this room at 6 p.m. Is that right, Kristen? Yes. So it is the beginning of discussions about an economic strategy for the Hartsville Pike area. Now that highway has opened, most of that Hartsville Pike does fall in Ward 2, and we certainly could use some good economic development in that ward. So I would invite anyone that has some feedback to please attend that meeting and give us your suggestions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Burdine?
Yes. I just want to reiterate what the mayor said about the family of Jaden Bailey, and just know that we are praying for you and that, his legacy and his faith will continue for generations to come. And we will continue praying for peace for you, and thankful for his time here with us. Mayor, I had a question. One of my constituents asked regarding our sports complex. You had gone on the radio stating, I think, that it had already been budgeted for. Is that correct?
If I said that, I didn't mean to say that. I know my last time on the radio was filled with a lot of big topics, and we talked about that last 30 seconds. So if I spoke too fast and led people that direction, I apologize. I didn't mean that. But I do remember Copa did ask me about that at the last minute. So we have not approved that yet.
Okay. I know we're working on it. That was for some of you all that are wanting to know when phase 2 is coming. We are working on it. And I agree with you, sir. We are not going to be ignorant on this subject. anyway, I agree. The ICE facility had no place here in Lebanon or Wilson County, in my opinion. And I know we have discussed it as a council, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen and to look at the bigger picture, because we do know some things change. So in our whatever power we have, and we're going to hire some other even greater power, and we're going to continue working on that. Don't, not to worry with that. I did want to ask Kristen, how are we doing on the sidewalks on Level Pike and Byers Dowdy area? Are we still working on that?
We're designing those in-house, so we've been working on those. Our surveyor's been out getting us some information too, so we're putting those together. Our goal is to get those to you later this spring with permission to bid that out once we have them together. So we're working on the design.
Okay, thank you. And then regarding the last meeting, I made some comments that about Set Free Ministry. I had the opportunity and the pleasure really to meet with the minister and learn a little bit more about their practices. And I was mistaken. They are conducting drug testing and doing background checks. And I really do appreciate their willingness to collaborate with the city and their commitment to ensuring going forward the safety of both the residents and their surrounding community. In the coming weeks, we also will be reaching out to more property owners, sober living facilities, and nonprofits regarding the unhoused in our community, and continue the dialogue about being good neighbors and working together for the benefit of all. So I did want to let you know we are still working on that. And then finally, to your comment, sir, about the Del Webb area, welcome to Ward 3. I am your council person, and I do appreciate you very much so coming and talking. Barton's Creek and Suncrest has always been a great partner, I feel like, with the city, and has been working with me nonstop since the beginning of this project. And I agree with you that there are some concerns. A lot of these things, these changes have been made because of the airport and not wanting, many people around there. That was not their intention to start with, so they're having to pivot. You are correct in saying that, we haven't had amendments that will hold them to some of these, and I plan tonight to accept, approve, but with amendments to work on lighting, work on what am I trying to say? The buffering, lighting or in signage on the buildings to help with those concerns. They do want it to be a nice project, and I'm sure they will agree to all these changes. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Crowe?
Mayor, thank you. I just want to echo what the mayor said about Jaden Bailey. We did have the honor of recognizing him at the last meeting. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here, but we did have Coach McDowell, and several members of the basketball team, and it was a special time. I know he took the proclamation straight to Jaden and his family, and it meant a lot to him and brought a smile to his face. So anytime, we can do that in life, in times of trouble and pain, I think it's a very positive thing. So appreciate everyone that's tried to support the family, and appreciate, everyone's prayers continuing to do that. And also in terms of the basketball teams, I know the girls finished up last night and unfortunately had a last second loss to Green Hill, but a great season for them. And I think the boys are playing tonight. So I see Mr. Porter nodding back there. He may have score for us or way of getting one, but 7:30, yeah, a little bit early. But we wish them luck tonight. Go Big Blue. Certainly for the federal facility that was going to be located here, we hope that doesn't happen ever, because that just wouldn't be good for our community. And frankly, I'm disappointed that the federal government would try to shove something, really anything, down our throat that's not good for our community. So I appreciate the mayor, Representative Boyd and Senator Blackburn in particular for all of the hard work that they put in on that, but everybody who weighed in and said, this is not a good fit for our community. Whether you support those types of facilities or not, this is not the place for it. There's been a lot of hard work that's been done here for years to try to make this a great community and to build economic stability and prosperity. And we don't want to see that melt away. And so we appreciate all the hard work there. Just want to point out one thought on number one under new business. That's the property that Tanya spoke about a minute ago. Certainly I think a lot of the Lineberry family, Tanya does a great job in all of her real estate representation. I saw this item in the Planning Commission. It is adjacent to Ward 4, and so I've tried to take a look at that. Like I said, they have done a lot for our community and bring a lot of great concepts. I don't think this is a good fit for this particular spot. A truck washing facility probably would be good somewhere, but I think we probably need a better fit here. The Planning Commission was unanimous in the decision. Staff recommended denial. There's some other issues with the fit here. So obviously, I think they can come up with something better. And Tanya, y'all do a great job. So I'm sure we'll see something better in the future there. And then just a compliment to Councilman Burdine there for working with members of the community on trying to make the SP better here. I mean, that's what an SP is for, Josh. You've worked on several of these in the past. So, trying to work with the city, with the council, and the applicant to get the best product that we can for our community. So, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Bryan.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't remember if I mentioned this last meeting or not, because I don't know if my limbs were picked up in our neighborhood, but I just want to tell you, Lee Clark and your crew did an excellent job. They picked up probably more than they should have. And I know it wasn't just because of me, and it wasn't because I was standing out there. But all over town, it was like that. I mean, they did an excellent job, and I really appreciate what you guys do. I know you don't get enough of that, but you really came through on that one, and I thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mayor, I too wanted to thank Lee. Just in my neighborhood alone, I could not believe the number of trees that were down. It was just ridiculous. And they were through there cleaning that up. I actually had heard rumor there were people from other towns bringing things into our town because we were doing such a great job of picking it up. I'm not kidding. I hope that wasn't true, but I did hear that. And as far as the ICE facility, we talked about it before. I just want to mention again, I think the city's doing everything in their power to stop that. I know the mayor actually even has a meeting with the federal attorney going forward to see proactively now that this kind of got sprung on us and nobody knew it was coming, to now try to take any step we can to try to shoot it in the foot before it ever comes back to us again. So, and then lastly, under the new business item number 2, the future plan use amendment that's in my ward, I'm going to be making a motion to deny that. Staff was adamantly against that. Planning Commission was against that. I believe it was 9-0. It's not in the city right now. It does not match. It's not in the city limits. It doesn't match our future land use plan. It would require city sewer. It does not have sewer out there. So at this point in time, I just can't see changing a future land use plan amendment for something that until it becomes annexed into the city makes any sense to do that. One other number I wanted to throw out, kind of why I'm against this high density right now is that when we had the last piece of property that got annexed into the city, that now we have a grand total of 13,018 units that are available to be built within the city limits of Lebanon without annexing another square foot. So until a lot of time passes, this councilor will not be supporting any high density anywhere in the city. Thank you.
And for the record, mine wasn't high density.
Was now, did I?
Thank you.
I didn't even bring up your ward.
Thank you. We have a consent agenda. Consent agenda. It's got 7 items on it, so I'll read each one of those. Ordinance number 267361, second reading to approve a budget amendment for the street department to purchase road salt by Lee Clark, Public Works Director. Ordinance number 267362, second reading to authorize budget amendments for the hazardous duty supplement benefit by Sylvia Reichel, HR Director, and Lindsay Wolfenbarger, Finance Director. Ordinance number 267363, second reading to approve the updated utility billing and other customer-related policies and fees by Harley Jones, CS Manager, and Lindsay Wolfenbarger, Finance Director. Ordinance number 267364, second reading to approve bids and award contract for the 2026 street paving project and to approve the related budget amendment. Project CL26001 by Jake Pruitt, Capital Projects Manager, and Kristen Rice, Executive Director of Engineering and Planning. Ordinance number 267365, second reading to approve bids and award contract for the 2026 street striping project and to approve the related budget amendment. Project CL26002 by Jake Pruitt, Capital Projects Manager, and Kristen Rice, Executive Director of Engineering and Planning. Ordinance number 267366, second reading to waive general fund fees for Wilson County's new building at the James E. Ward Ag Center located at 945 East Badura Parkway by Maddie Nutty, Engineering Director of Development, and Kristen Rice, Executive Director of Engineering and Planning. Ordinance number 267367, second reading to authorize an upgrade for the telephone and radio recording system for Central Dispatch and to approve the related budget amendment by Jason Baird, Fire Chief.
Motion approved.
Motion by Councilor Moorhead, second by Councilor Crowell. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now to old business. Ordinance number 267369, second reading to approve the reclassification of an existing part-time position to full-time for the county department and to authorize the related budget amendments by Lindsay Wolfenbarger, Finance Director.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilor Carmack, second by Councilor Crowell. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now to new business. Ordinance number 267353, first reading to amend the future land use plan of the city of Lebanon, Tennessee by changing unaddressed properties on Central Pike from RPO, Rural Preservation to Open Space, to IL Light Industrial in the UGB, request by Dewey Lineberry.
Motion to deny.
Motion by Councilor Crowell, second by Councilor Moorhead. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Ordinance number 267354, first reading to amend the future land use plan of the city of Lebanon, Tennessee by changing 478 and unaddressed West Olegardo Road from FLH2 residential 2 units per acre to FLH16 residential 16 units per acre in the UGB, request by Steve Moore.
Motion to deny.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilor Moorhead, second by Councilor Crowell. Discussion.
Discussion, Mayor. Actually, I'd like to make a comment on the previous item.
Okay.
Andy told me I needed to have a reason. So the reason is I'm following the staff recommendation.
Okay, thank you. I would assume Councilor Moorhead needs a reason. There's not.
And I am also following staff recommendation.
Okay.
If you make a motion to deny, it's good to state a reason on the record, because otherwise there's nothing in the record to indicate why we denied it.
Okay. Any further discussion?
My question is, if it's not in the city and they're not asking for annexation, we've done a lot of future land use changes. We kind of blanketed this with the comprehensive plan, and we did try to look at areas. But we have made changes before and since. And I don't see what it really hurts to change our future land use plan at this time when no one's asking for annexation or for services at this time. Just my thought, because it really is backed up to apartments. It's kind of landlocked. On the other side, it's got kind of junky commercial. People have a right to do what they want with their property, and we're deciding the future land use plan, not the property owner. And at this time, they're not really asking anything from us except for a future land use change. So
I've met with the folks a number of times, and we've yet to work out something completely, but have said I would not support any high density unless it was tied to some of the other property between them and 109, where it could be done as a mixed-use development. And until something in that whole area can be put together. It just doesn't make sense to me at this time to even change the future land use plan, considering they can't do anything with that property without city services anyways.
Well, it's in the county. I mean, they might could do something better with the county, you know.
Then they can do that in the county. I don't need to change the future land use plan for that.
I would see it as a timing issue more, so I'm not prepared to vote for that right now.
Any further discussion? All right, so the motion is to deny. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All right, roll call. Kristen?
Joey Carmack?
No.
Jerry Ashley?
No.
Camille Burdine?
No.
Chris Crow?
Yes.
Hick Bryan?
Yes.
Phil Moorhead?
Yes.
Mayor Bell, you have a tie.
Yes. All right, ordinance number 267356, first reading to amend the future land use plan of the city of Lebanon, Tennessee by changing 541 Bartons Creek Road from FLH4 residential 4 units per acre and FLH8 residential 8 units per acre to DXU downtown mixed use and FLH8 residential 8 units per acre in Ward 3. Request by Suncrest Real Estate and Land.
Motion to approve with the 3 modifications. I'm not sure if this is the right place to do that. It's not? Okay. Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Council Burdine, second by Councilor Ashley. Any discussion?
Amendments coming in the next motion. Is that right? If she's going to amend it?
Yeah, the amendments would come at, in a later item, I
Okay.
believe. Is that correct, Josh?
Which one,
Come on,
Josh?
Josh. Okay. All right.
Number 5. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now on to ordinance number 267357, first reading to amend the South Harbor Gateway overlay for about 7.92 acres at 541 Bartons Creek Road from ASSFD and WUSFAD and WUSFAD and WTCMX-TCR in Ward 3, request by Suncrest Real Estate and Land.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Burdine, second by Councilor Carmack. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Ordinance number 267358, first reading to amend the official zoning atlas of the city of Lebanon, Tennessee by changing 541 Bartons Creek Road from RPO, Rural Preservation Open Space, to Barton Village North SE Hybrid Specific Plan in Ward 3, request by Suncrest Real Estate and Land.
Motion to approve with the following, the 3 modifications they brought to us, along with an amendment to include no lighted signs on buildings facing Bartons Creek Drive, building transparency to be opaque facing Bartons Creek Drive, and with more landscaping and buffers in that area, especially if it is a storage facility. We have a great example of a fine-looking storage, indoor storage area on South 231. So I would recommend that you guys get with Josh and look at that SP that they did for that storage unit, if that is going to be one of your choices.
Is there any restrictions on the number of stories
Well-
for that building?
Well,
Oh, I'm
we
sorry.
have a motion. We need a second before we can discuss.
I was the second, but do I have to accept her amendments, Andy, or no? How do we do it procedurally?
You can just say you accept her amendments on your second.
Well, I'm the second and I accept all of her amendments.
Okay, so we have a motion by Council Burdine, second by Council Carmack. Now we can discuss.
So my question is there any limitations on the number of stories of this building?
Josh, do you have, can you come and
This
talk
was
about
this
that?
gentleman's concern about a 3-story building in the middle of a residential neighborhood.
That's right. So they've already addressed that in their SP. So we don't see any concern with that. It is a 2-story maximum height. The building can be slightly taller than the single family homes, but it's not out of the ordinary. It's well within the height transition that we would see anywhere else in the community.
And is there backlit signs, or that isn't allowed in our?
We already don't allow those.
All right.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, so this is a motion approved with those amendments. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Ordinance number 267359, first reading to amend the official zoning atlas of the city of Lebanon, Tennessee by amending regulations within the Legal Pike Commercial Specific Plan for about 5.47 acres at 6050 Legal Pike in Ward 4, request by Mid-10 Power Sports LLC.
Motion to approve.
Counselor Crowell, second by Counselor Carmack. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Resolution number 262818, first reading adopting plan services for the annexation at 1544 Rutledge Lane to be added to Ward 1, request by Elizabeth Johnson.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Carmack, second by Counselor Ashley. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Resolution number 262819, first reading annexing property at 1544 Rutledge Lane to be added to Ward 1, request by Elizabeth Johnson.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Carmack, second by Counselor Ashley. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Ordinance number 267360, first reading to amend the official zoning atlas of the city of Lebanon, Tennessee by requesting zoning approval for about 5.04 acres at 1544 Rutledge Lane to RD9 in Ward 1.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Carmack, second by Counselor Ashley. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Ordinance number 267368, first reading to approve a contract with Witt Sign Company and related budget amendment for the replacement of the pylon sign at the Jimmy Floyd Center by Alex Major, Jimmy Floyd Center Director.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Carmack, second by Counselor Ashley. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Ordinance number 267370, first reading to authorize the purchase of a portion of tax map 103, parcel 30.01, Walnut Grove Road, deed book 2286, page 639, by Kristen Rice, Executive Director of Engineering and Planning, and Jake Pruitt, Capital Projects Manager.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Burdine, second by Counselor Crowell. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Ordinance number 267371, first reading to approve granting a perpetual right-of-way easement to Middle Tennessee Electric to serve new city construction at 355 West Badura Parkway by Kristen Rice, Executive Director of Engineering and Planning, and Jake Pruitt, Capital Projects Manager.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Ashley, second by Counselor Carmack. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Ordinance number 267372, first reading to approve bids and award contract for the Equalization Basin Pump Station, project number CL23102, and to approve the related budget amendment by Regina Santana, Utilities Director.
Second.
Counselor Moorhead, second by Counselor Crowell. Discussion.
Vote on, but I think I'm going to have to.
Where is this one located, Regina?
It's the one that's over behind the new animal control facility.
Okay. All right, thank you.
The one that Jeff,
Oh, yeah.
that I fought for.
Yes.
It's in Jerry's ward now, so I'll wave my flag.
Against it.
No.
Discussion for a long time.
Yeah, please, let's just get it through.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Ordinance number 267373, first reading to amend titles 11 and 12 of the Lebanon Municipal Code to delete section 11401, 4F, and to revise titles in section 12104 by Andy Wright, City Attorney.
Approve.
Motion by Counselor Ashley, second by Counselor Carmack. Discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
No, I was just I didn't actually look over this one before the meeting, so I confess. I just wondered if you could give me the thumbnail.
It's just two little housekeeping things. The Chapter 11 amendment is actually repealing a section that was actually supposed to have been deleted a couple years ago, and Beth found where it hadn't been because it came up. And then the Title 12 amendment is simply in all instances where we had Commissioner of Public Works, we're replacing that with Kristen's new title.
Okay.
My other question was, I know we have talked, Mayor, too, about that our municipal code would be updated.
Mhm.
Have we, by the end of last year, has that been done?
Do you have an update on that, Andy?
It just still working with, it's a company called Community Law, I think is what it is. And Beth's working with them, and they've got it all, and we're waiting on to hear from them. It's been amended 20 times since they've had it, so. But we should have the software included in what they're doing that will allow us to go in and make amendments so we can have instant amendments on our website.
Wow.
So such as these two, then all we'd have to do is go in and just change it in our document, and then it will populate to the website and with all the changes.
So it's just taking some software.
When would it be finished?
I don't know the answer to that, Camille, but I can certainly find out for you.
Okay, please do. All right, thanks.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Ordinance number 267374, first reading to authorize budget amendments for the police department by Mike Justice, Police Chief.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Carmack, second by Counselor Burdine, or Ashley. Okay. Counselor Ashley, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Resolution number 262823, authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $18,500,000 and no $100 general obligation fund bonds for the city of Lebanon, Tennessee by Lindsay Wolfenbarger. Finance
Motion
Director.
to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Moorhead, second by Counselor Crowell. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Resolution number 262824, authorizing the issuance of a general obligation bonds of the city of Lebanon, Tennessee in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $18,500,000 in one or more series, making provision for the issuance, sale, and payment of said bonds, establishing the terms therefrom, and providing for the levy of taxes for the payment of principal of premium, if any, and interest on the bonds by Lindsay Wolfenbarger, Finance Director.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Crowell, second by Counselor Carmack. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Resolution number 262825 to authorize application for and acceptance of funds obtained through the Bureau of Justice Assistance Grant Program by Mike Justice, Police Chief.
Motion approved. Second.
Counselor Carmack, second by Counselor Ashley. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Resolution number 262826 to authorize advertising for proposals for engineering design services for Lebanon Sports Complex Phase 2 by Kristen Rice, Executive Director of Engineering and Planning, and Jake Pruitt, Capital Projects Manager.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Burdine, second by Counselor Ashley. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is a nice agenda, and remember, we will be going to the back room.